Alright, and hello everybody, I'm the Super27 and welcome to another Dokkan Battle video. This is the Extreme Super Battle Road for Android / Cell Saga. Now this is actually a super fun ESPR. And this is actually, again, a no item attempt because we got a lot of recent buffs to this category, as well as I'm bringing out some old tricks that just made this a lot of fun. This did take a couple of attempts, but it's still... Anytime I get to bust out LR Cell, he's a guilty pleasure character of mine, this is a lot of fun. We got to have a lot of fun tech. This is a weird mixture of like extreme and superclass characters, and just really combined to make this fun. So, we're bringing LR Cell because he leads Android / Cell Saga 180 to stats. So he's pretty much like the best leader who I could have brought in terms of utility and leader skill. So the reason I love Cell so much is because he is a villain revive, is what I always like to refer to him as. He's a pseudo revive. You enter an attacking turn below 40% HP, you then transform into perfect Cell, or true perfect Cell, whatever you want to call him. And at that point, he's then a god, you know what I mean? He gets a full HP recovery, he becomes a rainbow orb changer, and when you're trying to do a no item attempt, he's essentially a Sensu Bean at the start of any turn where you take a lot of damage. And you can see here, we are taking a lot of damage because ESBR, these characters, they hit like red zone bosses on turn 1, and there's 2 of them. So, you know, that's always something you gotta kind of contend with, is that there are a lot of like really scary damaging threats very early on that you really can't do too much about. You have to have these really unique ways of getting your HP back, outside of just orb changing. But we can see some very familiar faces if you watch the last video, the Super Battle Road run. But this is the Super Vegeta. He is a very good character. He can go into slot 1 in most situations. He has a crucial guaranteed seal on his super attack effect, which is always super nice. Again, he can kind of just lock down slot 1. The less HP you have, the actually better he becomes, so it's always nice, again, in this event as well, that if we do take a little bit of damage, he will be a little bit better in slot 1. We are bringing, again, the LR Gohan as well. Now, he's one of those characters who actually has some more utility in this one. Not only is he guarding when you're above 58% HP, and he does debuff on his 18 and on his 12 key, but he actually has the ability to transform into his SSJ2 transformation, which is still an extreme powerhouse, probably even in today's meta, because he is creating his own orbs. He's a little bit of a nuker. He launches so much damage. That is like an incredible unit, the SSJ2 Gohan. I really feel like if you could reliably get him, which isn't necessarily too hard because of a couple other characters that we have on this team now, he can absolutely just wreak havoc over this entire game. And he also does give you a lot of HP recovery if you do that as well, because, you know, you're just collecting a ton of AGL orbs, and his defense can get pretty high depending on how many stacks you have beforehand. As you can see who we have in slot 1 on this rotation, this is the sub-EZA Android 16 that we got not too long ago, and he is actually, like, remarkably good. He's one of my favorite units to run on just, like, a lot of teams, just because of how reliable he is. Now, he can take a little bit of damage in some certain situations, because he can get up to 48% damage reduction. He has to get hit 3 times, as well as he does have guaranteed guard, which is pretty good. He probably would work a little bit differently if I was running him on the rotation with the Gohan, because he does have different buffs depending on if there is a Gohan on the rotation, but we don't ever see that in this run. I was choosing to run him with the physical androids for a few reasons. Number one, because you can get some of those more obscure links going together, especially once we transform into 16, who we could do a lot, right? Because 16, you're able to transform into him if you're below a certain HP threshold, which happens a lot because this is, again, Extreme Super Battle Road. These bosses hit really hard, and we don't have a whole lot of ways to recover our HP in between rounds, outside of our perfect cell exchange, which we will get to see right here. So right here, boom, we now have a super powerful LR, we get orb changing, and we have a full heal. I absolutely love that. Anytime I could run Cell in any of these events, I normally love doing it. He is replaced just a little bit now because we do have, like, Fat Boo, who is actually a villain revive character, instead of a pseudo revive, and not to mention, I don't think his tanking ability is anywhere near good enough, but I feel like you could still run him in niche situations. I don't know. Let me know if you would want to see, like, me trying to make LR Cell work in, like, the Majin Buu red zone somehow. I could find a way, I feel sure, somehow. But yeah, the physical androids, they are very good. They do just give, like, a lot of support. They are a dodging unit when they're in their 17 and 18 incarnation, which can always be nice. And if you're able to transform into 16, it's like a perfect slot 2 option. Now, the 16, he is very defensive, but he's not defensive enough to take all these super attacks before supering himself. Because he does get a lot of stats when he supers, but, like, he has to super first. So boom, we're able to transform. We now have like perfect linking buddies with each other. And this is another one of these like Battle Road type events where you have to go up against Cell and his Cell Juniors. Now this is always scary. This is always like a skill check, because there are a lot of opportunities for you to get caught. If those first couple attacks were all super attacks, we would have been dead, and there's nothing you can really do about that. There's no characters who we could have had on this team that could have survived that. And lastly, before we run out of time, let's go ahead and talk about the final addition to this team, which is LR Future Gohan. Now, LR Future Gohan, he is still very good. He does have, like, an incredible amount of damage reduction. He launches a lot of additionals. Even though his attack stat is normally pretty low, like, I don't think he gets anywhere above, like, a 5-6 million in any of these runs, just because of the percentage I have him at. He is just really nice to have around, just because he's not going to die. I would be very surprised if in any situation you were ever worried about LR Future Gohan dying. There are a lot of characters on this team who kind of feel that way. And Android / Cell Saga, even though it is a little bit of a more mid category, I would argue, it does have a lot of, like, niche things. Like, you are able to bring Super Trunks if you were a fan of that character. If you have the brand new DFE Extreme Super Saiyan, that's a lot of words, Vegeta, he's also on this category. You have STR Super Vegeta, who's probably the best Super Battle Road and Extreme Super Battle Road character in the game. I unfortunately don't have access to a lot of those characters because I summon a lot, but I don't, like, I'm not a whale, you know what I mean? I very rarely do I actually put money into this game or whatever. But there are a ton of other options you can bring to this, and I would be kind of interested to see some more unique things. And I feel like this is a very unique team build for the Super Battle Road, where I feel like a lot of people would just bring, like, dual Vegeta, and then you could have all these other variations because more modern things. As you can see here, we are using a lot of, like, older characters. Like, the most modern thing we are bringing is the 16 sub-EZA. But, like, again, we have LR Cell and LR Goten, who were, 2022? Right at the end of 2022 if you're a JP player, or right at the start of 2023 if you're a global player such as myself. So yeah, a lot of fun, a lot of little niche things. We got to see some animations I feel like you guys probably haven't seen in a while, like the Cell Revive, or the transforming into 16 with the physical androids. Again, this was just a lot of fun. This is one of those Extreme Super Battle Roads where I had, like, a very good time being able to experiment and have fun. And this really wasn't too difficult either, which I was surprised. I mean, obviously it took me quite a few attempts, but this was, like, probably less than 30 minutes of runs for me to get a no item. And that's always something that's, like, a nice, rewarding feeling. But yeah, that is going to be all for this time, guys. I've been the Super27. I'm a variety Twitch streamer and an up-and-coming YouTuber trying to make it big in the world. I have a Twitter, a Twitch, a TikTok, and a YouTube, the links to which can all be found in the description of this video. And while you're down there, don't forget to like, subscribe, share me around, and leave me a comment, positive, negative, or indifferent. I would love just any sort of interaction I can get from you guys. But yeah, that'll be all for now. So as always, I've been the Super27, and I am signing off.